Hello, welcome to Korean and Carry On. Happy New Year to everyone. This is our first one back
Happy New
after the New Year.
Year! My
As
God.
always, I am Gemma, one of your lovely hosts.
And I'm Lorna, and we are here to talk to you all about carrying, how to do it safely, correctly, and looking at all the options. So I can't
Yes.
believe it's 2026 already.
I
It's
know, right?
crazy. It's
I
just
don't even know what to do.
here's I know. I still don't know what day it is or what's happening where I am. I still feel like I'm in limbo, like Christmas limbo. What's happening?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. So today we are going to chat about adding a new sibling because this is the time of year where there's a lot of new babies being expected, maybe before Christmas or soon. And we're going to look
Well,
at, it's not
well,
the
you
most
say that.
popular.
It's not, we know that a lot of babies have just been conceived because
Well,
the
yes,
statistically
yeah.
high birth month is September, which means a lot of you have been very busy over these past few weeks. It's been
Well, there's
quiet, you've been
nothing
at
else to
home.
do when it's cold.
Exactly. You've got to stay in, conserve
Got to
body
stay
heat.
cozy. Got to stay cozy. Share body heat.
Yeah. So for anybody who finds out in the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks that you've got a sibling coming along for your little one, congratulations in advance. And
Yes.
yeah, we're going to talk about carrying with siblings around.
Yeah. And preparing for it and how to do it and why it's beneficial. I usually get a lot of people coming in and they didn't carry their first, but then find out they're having a second and they're like, I'm going to have to carry this one
Yeah.
because I don't have the luxury of just sitting down all day and joining them for
Yes.
a nap and all that lovely things that you
Oh,
get to do with your first. When you have a
yeah.
second, you've got baby groups, toddler groups, you've got nursery run or school run, you've got things to be done,
Yeah.
and you
True
still only
story.
have two hands.
True story. My daughter was born in November 19. And so obviously COVID hit straight after. We were trapped in the
hmm
house. I had a newborn lying on my chest. I was sitting on the couch, cuddling her. I just fed her. And my son appeared, my son who was just turned 3, appeared completely naked, covered in paint. And, and I was just like, what have you been doing? And then I went through, there was paint everywhere. He tried to clean up, but it was over the sink, it was on the
Oh.
floor, it was in the bathroom upstairs where he'd went up to try and clean up some, it was everywhere. So yeah, if you've got especially a toddler or a preschooler who is up to
hmm
stuff and you've got a tiny newborn,
Yep.
carrying can absolutely help you keep an eye on the menace while you look after the newborn. So
Definitely. And help keep newborns safe from the menace
from the
whenever
menace,
they're
yes.
up to. Yeah, because you can't really, it's not always ideal to have baby sleeping in their baby box or their crib or whatever, and then go make a cup of tea. And you're like, right, okay, I need to know where one child is at all times, just in case there's
Yes.
any poking and like, oh, let's get my sibling out to play. Or giving them toys. That was what my daughter did. She was like, I remember we
Mm.
came home from the hospital and I had him, I was sitting on the couch and she went and got her whole box of cars and brought them out. And she's like, can my brother play with me now? And I'm like, that is so cute. But like, just wait until he can actually play and you won't be asking.
Well, he's got some head control. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you could drive your cars round him while he lies on the
Yeah.
floor.
He makes a really, really good obstacle.
Yes, we could maybe even like build a bridge over him. It'd be all good.
Yeah. So a rocky
Get a
board
wobble
over the
board.
baby. Yeah.
Exactly. All these different things. So let's talk about first, like when you're preparing for adding a newborn. So a lot of the times you might have been still carrying a toddler and have toddler options, or sometimes you might not start carrying your first until they are older. So then you've never
Yeah.
carried a newborn. I get that a lot as well. Do you like see that?
hmm
Like you'll get someone, look, I started carrying at 6 months when they were bigger and I got a buckle carrier and then I've never actually carried a newborn. Or they've started with a preschool carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's nice to start looking at options that are going to be when you are chasing another child. One of the most important things are obviously safety and comfort, but being quick. That is what everyone
Key.
asks for. It needs to be quick and easy because I need to be able to pop it on, school run, all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
what options would you look at if somebody didn't want a stretchy? because sometimes
Yes,
stretchy will put people off. We know it's amazing, but if for a newborn buckle option, what would you like, or a quick school run option?
sure. So for me, if you're wanting a buckle, and to be honest, you'll know this as a consultant, most people
Hmm.
want buckles. As great as stretchy wraps are, like a lot of people are overwhelmed by them. So newborn buckle options, I would say the Ergo Baby Embrace is actually a really good buckle option. And you can pick them up fairly cheap secondhand
Hmm.
if it's out your budget. The Naco Tiny goes really
Yep.
small. So if you're like me and produce these 6 pound nothing babies,
We
um
tooting
that
toots.
might teeny tiny babies. If you have tiny
We
packs,
chatties.
then if you have little toots like I do, then you are maybe going to want something that goes a bit smaller. So again, the Naco Tiny does really well. The Isme is actually quite nice for a small baby
Hmm.
as well. Um, I'm trying to think what else I would. I mean, there's lots on the market. Like obviously, Baby Bjorn is got the mini, and a lot of people
Hmm.
really like the Baby Bjorn for that early stage because it is very, very quick, and you put it on like a harness before you put the baby in.
Kind of
So a
have it
lot of
on
people
under
do
your
like that.
jacket. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
Um,
make sure it's correctly adjusted because that's the issue with the
yes.
mini is if it's not correctly adjusted, then it's not going to offer a safe fit for newborns, especially when they're all wibbly wobbly.
I mean, we can say that about any carrier.
True.
You've always got to make sure that the fit is right for your child. That said, things like the Baby Bjorn you might prefer because you can put the harness on and then leave it, whereas the other ones you put the waist belt on and then sit the baby in and fit it around your baby. So
Hmm.
um, it depends, but I would say those are probably if I had a newborn in who they said absolutely do not want a stretchy or a woven wrap or a ring sling,
Hmm.
none of those are for me. I want a buckle. That would be my starting point. Anything else you'd add?
Yeah. I'd also add the Zen sling because it's a nice
Mm,
kind of hybrid. It's a buckle carrier, but it's got a bit of stretch and it's got really nice cross-strap shoulders that offer a really nice option. Also, depending if you've got a slightly bigger newborn, then the new Lenny Lamb Upgrade Pro is brilliant because there's so many different things on it as well. So if you're planning to, I mean, this will work for most carriers, but if you're planning to share the carrying between you and a partner, then it's a
mm,
really nice option because you can get different combinations out of the one carrier. So, like cross straps, H straps, different adjustments and stuff. So it's really nice. And I've had that on a wee one, and it's such a lovely. It's like my new current favorite carrier for the minute
yeah.
because it just covers everything and works on so many different bodies. Um, yeah.
If you're wanting, I mean, I also quite like the Lenny hip, which you
Hmm.
can wear closer to your front. So if you wanted the sort of ring sling feel, but you wanted a buckle, the Lenny hip
Hmm.
can actually go quite small and be quite sportive for a newborn.
Yeah.
The only thing I dislike about the Lenny hip is that stretchy shoulder. I'm hoping
Hmm.
they're going to put a bit more firm
They
fabric on that,
they
but
they have changed it, but it doesn't feel that different.
mm,
I tried recently the new shoulder and it doesn't feel that much different than the old one. So yeah, there's that. Also depending on, so if that was looking at more kind of tiny and average size newborns, if you've got like a high centile, like I birthed a
yeah.
chunk. So my wee one was £9 at birth. Yes, I didn't get a medal.
You never
I
do,
felt
but
I
you deserve
felt like he
one.
could have walked out. He came out like the size of a 3-month-old. I was like, I've been robbed of my newborn. This is awful. But yeah, he was a chonky boy. Yeah. So then, if you've got a bigger newborn, then you can kind of move on to things like the Bairn, from OSHA, which is really
Yeah, and they're
nice.
very pretty, very
The
pretty.
carry, yeah, the carry fit, obviously, nicer with a bigger baby, and I'm just kind
Yahoo
of
baby.
Kahoo baby, yeah, and things like Tula and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Tula free to grow, but yeah, it depends. And the Lenny Little Frog Prime as well, which
yeah,
is really nice option. Another nice
and
padded
lasts a
one.
while as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It grows with you. So again, this is something if you were to book in for a session, we would guide you through all these things. So we can give you a list of all the things that might work, but it depends on what works for your postpartum body and for your baby as well. And again, like you might like the look of something and but you struggle to get on because you might have what is that called? Not it's repetitive strain basically mother's wrist or something. I get a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people coming in with that. So if you struggle with pulling backwards or forwards, then some of these options aren't going to work for you. Or if you've
Mm.
had any pain, and that's something that we would want to look at in a session just to make sure that we're offering you full support for your postpartum body as well, because um how something fits and how it feels can be very different. It can fit and look great, and we're like, oh, it looks great, but how does it feel? And like, oh, well, I'm not so sure.
Mm.
So yeah, that depends as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we've also got our newborn episode. So if you want to hear more in depth about carrying newborns or preparing for newborns, that's the one. Go have a listen to that. Um,
Definitely.
so you found out you're pregnant, Ace, you're planning to carry your newborn. We love that. But you've got a feral 2.5-year-old, 3-year-old running about, and you're like, what do I do? That child's also used to being carried. So what can I do? So a lot of the carriers we've suggested can do up to around age 2. So if you've got a
Hmm.
kid in that bracket, you'll be able to use that same carrier for both. If not, if you're already carrying the older child in a bigger carrier, in a toddler or a preschool carrier, you're going to have to still
Hmm.
keep using that while getting something different from your newborn because the
Yep.
carrier will simply be too big. And it's
Yep.
not just a case. A lot of people think we bang on about this M shape for the seat, and a lot of people only think it's about the seat. It's about the panel height.
Hmm.
And that's what we're more
Airways,
worried about
airways,
is that you're
airways.
yes, it's the airway. We don't want your baby smothered in the carrier. We don't want them slumping down. We want lots of airway around that face. So when we're looking at what could you do if you're carrying your toddler and you want to carry your little one, there are loads and loads of options for that. So primarily, the first option is, do you need to carry both?
Hmm.
I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, it definitely depends. Like if you've got an older toddler and they're in nursery or something, then how are you getting to nursery? Are you driving there? Are you walking there? Do you normally walk and carry? Then possibly you might want to carry both. But remember, tandem carrying is something that we wouldn't recommend from birth because your body still needs to recover. And depending on how you gave birth, you want to recover. So if tandem carrying is something that you want to look at eventually, then um, it can be an option. But if, and also an option is having one buggy, having a single buggy or a pram and carry one, have the other in the buggy, can be a really nice option as well. So it depends what you need to do. Again, our slogan should be "It depends."
It depends.
So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's because it does depend because I mean everybody is different and your
Hmm.
children are all different. And that's the thing, you might have a first child who loved being carried and a second who hates it, and
Yeah.
that's a hard to swallow. That
It's
is,
so hard.
you love a carry, and there are children who just don't like it being in a carrier. They like being carried in arms, but in a
Yep.
carrier, they just dislike it. Some children grow into it, some don't. Most
Hmm.
children will like being in a carrier, but there is the odd
Yeah.
one or two that don't.
Yeah.
The other thing would be if you didn't carry your first and you're looking to carry your second, again, it's a learning skill for you. You've got
Hmm.
stuff you've got to learn while also, keeping two children alive. It's a big ask, especially in a postpartum body. So what you choose to do doesn't. It's not something that you don't get an award for choosing to tandem carry and putting the
Yeah.
big one on and the little one and trudging down to the nursery. I mean, but
Mm.
if you choose to do that, there's loads and loads of options.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say you get people like me and Laurna who like to use woven wraps and be all fancy. And
It's the
I
best.
mean, one of my favorite pictures is I've got a woven wrap with my son on the back and my newborn daughter in my front,
That's
all in the one
literally
wrap.
my logo. My logo
Yeah,
is me with both children in one wrap.
yeah, and it's wonderful until the big one wants down, and then you have to
Yes.
take the baby out as well as the big one. So it's got its own issues.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're choosing to carry, again, you don't have to choose to carry. Like you were saying, you can use pram and a carrier rather than having to
Hmm.
get a double pram because they're just big and bulky. If you're using public transport, it's really tricky.
Yeah, can't get in
Um,
shops. Be a nightmare.
exactly. Exactly. A lot of
Hmm.
shops, especially up where you are, where it's a lot of older buildings,
Hmm.
you're going to get in some of those single doors with a double buggy,
Yeah.
even if it's
I've
the
seen
ones that
people
are,
waiting outside because you can't get in or you can't shop, especially like busy Christmas season as well when everyone's in the
yeah,
shops.
because that's the thing. It's not just width wise. Sometimes you can have it's like two single buggies, one in front of the other, and
Yeah.
then you're just really long.
And you can't
So
turn, you're
it's
stuck. The
yeah,
pivot.
massive turning circle. Um, but that's the thing is that no matter how you choose to get about, I mean, you're going to have to be carrying stuff for your kids. So you might prefer to have a pram so you can carry the extra stuff for the two kids, all the nappies and
Hmm.
everything, Um,
Nice having the different combinations because you could
yeah.
tandem carry and have a buggy or something for carrying stuff. And then when
Mhm.
big one or wee one wants down, they can go in the buggy or pram and then you can have a bag on your back. So different
Yeah.
combinations depending on how long you're going to be out, where you're going, what you're kind of doing.
Yeah.
I actually had a really nice session the other day with someone who did carry her first and she was expecting her second. And she was currently looking at options to carry when she was pregnant. We can maybe look at that a wee bit as well, chat about that. So we looked at on Behemos, because
Mhm.
obviously no waistband, but then we were looking at options for when she's using it on Behemo when baby arrives and options to tandem carry,
Mhm.
because what she had was an echo switch and we were looking at that, but an echo switch has got quite chunky shoulders.
It
So when
does.
you're
Yeah.
layering up, that's something to think about as well. If you're going to be tandem carrying, are you using a buckle carrier with chunky shoulders for the newborn and a buckle carrier with chunky shoulders with the older child as well, then you're going to have like massive shoulder pads and it's not always going to work. It's
Mm.
not always going to be the right combination. So looking at
Yeah.
tandem options, you need to look at things that are going to work together rather than um, something like the Ismay Baby and the Ismay Adventure works really well because they've both got really nice shoulders and layer on
Mhm.
top of each other nice and thin. That was me
Yeah.
just going off on a tangent because I'd thought of
Mm.
something,
I
as
saw you
usual.
just you were like, oh look, there's a bunny rabbit. Let's follow it.
I know. Yeah, what we were talking about.
So,
Standard.
um, yeah.
Shops.
So if you're choosing to carry with a new child, and you've already got an older one, and we'll just assume you've got two kids for the minute.
Hmm.
Um, so the
Uh,
question is, do you have to tandem carry?
yeah.
No, is the short answer. You absolutely don't. You can ask yourself first of all, why am I tandem carrying? So, like you say, are you going to the nursery? Okay, do you need to take both kids, or do you have somebody in the house who could watch baby one while you take baby two to nursery?
Hmm.
Um, could you use a pram? I mean, again, we're looking at do you need to because you are only one person. Can your body support carrying
Yeah.
two people at this point? Just because you
You
might not be
don't
able to
have to
carry
do it
both of them.
all.
Exactly. There is no award. As we keep saying, there are no awards for parenting.
I wish there was, though.
It's, I mean, yeah, I would be insufferable if I won one, though.
I know. I'll
I
make you an
wouldn't.
award. There we go.
Yes, gold stars. Um, but no, I genuinely wouldn't win anything because my poor kids.
You would. You
But
would.
but you don't get an award for carrying two kids at once. And
Yeah.
as nice as it can be, like again, some of my favorite memories, I've got both kids on me,
Hmm.
but it also is really challenging physically. If you've just had a baby, you're not going to want to be lifting,
Hmm.
such big weights or and doing long carries with big kids. Um, if you want to, though, and if your body can sustain that, great. I love that for you. Go ahead and do it. Um, but carrying a toddler and carrying a newborn are very different games.
Yeah.
Um, and the behaviors of both children are very different. So while we would normally say carry a newborn on your front, there are
Hmm.
cases where we would say actually your newborn can go on your back in this instance because you're going to be doing a long walk and your
Hmm.
toddler will want up and down a lot. They can go on your hip or your front and your newborn can go on your back. We do not promote newborn back carrying until 6 months. That's when we typically say back carrying can happen.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is to ensure safe airways. That said, if you visit a consultant like us and we teach you how to back carry a newborn, that is a skill you can obtain. But for the
Yes.
general public, we advise 6 months without advanced instruction from somebody who can teach it.
Yeah. And
And
also
it's
it's
to
not
protect your baby.
suitable in a lot of options. So just
Yeah.
because you've got a carrier or a stretcher wrap does not mean that you can put your baby on your back. Um,
No.
so yeah, so that would definitely be something that we would go over with you.
So just so that everybody's aware, it is an option and it can be a great option. Like Lorna and I were having a
Hmm.
chat before we came on here, and she was saying one of her favourites is she had her son as a newborn on
Yeah.
her back while she was baking with her
I
daughter.
think he was about
Um,
like 6, no, 8 or 10 days old the first time I put him on my back so that I could have one-to-one time with my daughter, which was nice because he was then, and using a carrier can really help like that because
yeah,
then I had him on my back where he was on me and he was safe, but he was also like out the way a wee bit so that then she
yeah.
felt like she still had me time rather than there's a baby in the way as well, which was really nice. And it meant that I was able to bake and get in the oven and all that kind of thing as well. It
Yeah.
was really cool.
And I mean, it's something that we see a lot of parents worry about is, if I've got my newborn on my chest and I'm trying to cook, are they going to get damaged or injured? So if
Mm,
they're on your back, you do remove that element. That
hmm.
said, if you want to back carry a newborn, it is an advanced skill. While it can be done, if
Hmm.
you do not do it naturally, because
Yep.
again, we're aware that in Africa, especially, we see a lot of newborns carried in the back, and we see it in others like South American cultures. Back
Yep.
carrying with a newborn is incredibly common. But
Hmm.
if it's not something you've learned through your culture, if you're just sort of your standard UK person, you will need some support to back carry a newborn.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, obviously you can do what you like, but we would really recommend,
Yeah,
really, really, really,
we would like to support you how to do things safely because safety is we shout about it all the time because it is the most important thing. You've got this precious wee bundle or even an older child. It's you want to do it
yeah,
safely. You wouldn't just throw them in like people say, well, like, would you get a car seat and not read the instructions and install it in your car properly? Would you just pop it in and hope for the best? It's the same thing with a carrier. You want to set it up correctly, you want to use it correctly, and it's not just about supporting baby, you want to support your body as well.
yeah.
So that's what we're here for. Use us, let us guide you, let us support you.
Let us help you.
Um, Yes, it's our favorite thing to do. Make sure you're happy and being like, look at me. I'm nailing it. It's always best. So
Yeah, I think
let's no on you go.
no, I think it's tricky because we constantly tell parents that they just need to get on with it. And,
Mm,
and you're saying about car seats. I mean, yeah, we read the instruction manuals, but we do know statistically most car seats are installed incorrectly, because we
mm-hmm.
don't get support to install them. And it's
Yep.
why Isofix tends to be installed better than belted seats because there's less
Mm-hmm.
room for error
And
because
you've
you
got the
just
wee
click and go.
lights. Tell you a wee
Yeah,
green light. All green lights,
yeah.
all good.
There's green, we're good. Whereas you don't get that with belts.
No.
But I mean, I think I'm not a car seat expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm fairly certain I read that belted seats tend to be better in car accidents, but only if they're installed correctly, and most are installed incorrectly. So
Yeah, and one of
it's
the things that people forget is the handle on like
yeah,
a baby car seat.
an infant
That
seat. Yeah,
must be up. If that is not up, then it's not safe. And that's
yeah.
what people forget. They put it down. They put baby in, put it down, and put the seat belt across. No, that has to be up. That has to be up. I have car seat training. It has to be up.
Well, this is it. I mean, when you get a new baby, when you get one, like you go to the shop and pick one up, um, when you
Block of
obtain your
cheese, some
newborn,
milk, and a
yeah,
baby.
and a baby, why not?
We're making a
Um,
macaroni baby.
it would be so much easier though than the way we actually make them.
I
Yeah, but when you get your new baby, you are overwhelmed by the amount of stuff you have to get and the amount of stuff you have to learn. Even like changing a nappy is a new skill for a lot of people, or bathing a newborn is a skill.
Mm,
And you're trying to pick up all this while also, you know, having your body ravaged. Even if you're not the birthing parent, you are
hmm.
exhausted. I
Yep.
mean, the screaming doesn't differentiate in the middle of the night, like everybody wakes up. So
Yeah.
and again, if you've got an older child in the house as well, that can also be really tricky because your older child's sleep can be interrupted by the new one's sleep. And so you might find that if you have a new child and you've got a toddler or something, you might find that they regress is the wrong word, but it's the word that's most commonly used because regress
Yep.
means to lose a skill. But
Hmm.
you might find that they almost become more infantile in their behavior,
Hmm. Kind of
and
go
it's
backwards,
because they're
back a few steps.
yeah. But they're not losing skills. They're not going back steps. What they're doing is trying to communicate that something in their life has changed
Yeah.
and they don't have the capacity to explain that. So when they, start, you're like, well, you were toilet trained until your sibling came along. So what has happened? Why are you suddenly peeing yourself? It's because
Yeah.
they've had a massive change in their life. And that's
Yeah.
why,
And
again,
also
carrying,
it can
yeah.
be like for attention as well. Like, oh, look, kind of
Mm,
not always. I'm not saying your child's
no,
manipulating you, but it can be a kind of
well,
like
they simply
or
can't.
there yeah,
Yeah.
there's too much going on that they kind of get overwhelmed and forget things because there's so much new going on and you get
Yeah.
distracted.
Yeah. And again, that's why carrying an older child can be really good. So it could be that you put your newborn in the pram and carry the older one because it gives you that connection with your child whose life has just been turned upside down.
Hmm.
Even if you give them all the attention, even if they love their sibling, it
Hmm.
has been a massive upheaval for them and it can change
Yep.
their routine. Your behaviors will change because you'll go back to being a new parent again.
And you're also exhausted.
Yeah. And you're exhausted because although you were exhausted before with the
Yeah.
pregnancy and you were exhausted before that with your first child,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a new
you're now
level.
exhausted and in a different and exciting way.
Yeah.
Um,
Not putting
so,
anyone off at all.
oh no, have multiple kids. It's great. I totally love
Yeah.
it. I haven't slept in 9 years, but it's fine. It's fine. Um, but yeah, it's being able to carry your older child can reconnect you. It can bring you back to a sort of center point where you and your child feel like you
Hmm.
were before the newborn was here.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that anybody loves anybody else more or less than someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean that
Hmm.
your newborn's getting preferential treatment or your older child's getting preferential treatment. It just means that everybody's got needs and you need to work around that and try
Hmm.
and by everybody I do mean everybody, including the parents.
Hmm.
They also need a little bit of TLC. And that's why
Yep.
when your friends come over, tell them to bring you food, tell them to clean your house, and you
Pass
can
the baby and you disappear. Have a nice
yeah,
bath, have a
go for
nice
a nap.
shower, have some.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I kind of tried to remember when I had my second. It's like now I've got two humans to keep alive. I need to remember to get a wee bit of me back as well and try and remember
Yeah.
that I still need care and I still need attention and some self-care and just time for a nap. I just
Yeah.
like going up to my
You're a
mum to be
person
like,
too. Yeah.
here's your grandchildren. I'm going for a nap, which is really nice. Or if a friend come over or the other parent, just making sure you have time for yourself as well, which is really important. But another thing as well, even though we're talking about carrying and how carrying can help when you're adding a sibling, it's also really important to try and have some one-to-one time with the older sibling as well. I think as well, because especially if they are in, so if they're in nursery or school, then you've got all day with baby and baby's getting all your attention all day. And then sometimes we half an hour or a wee hour with the older one when they come home is really nice to have as well. Or like I used to do like a Friday, I would do like school pickup and we would do something. So it's really nice that they don't feel like they're kind of having to share the attention as
Yes.
well, which is really nice. But then
Again,
also getting them used to a baby. You can have
mhm,
baby on and you can still have that time that's an activity for them. So going to the park or reading books or baking or something like that. So they're like, okay, baby's asleep on mum's chest or parent's chest. Doesn't matter. Baby's there. I'm happy with them around, but I'm still getting what I want to do.
yeah. I mean, it can be tricky with that because if you are solo parenting and you're
Hmm.
the only option and you're breast or chest feeding. And I mean, your newborn is a little dictator. Unfortunately, their needs do come first.
Yep.
Um, and I had to explain to my son that, needs versus wants. So like the baby
Hmm.
had needs, whereas he had wants at that point. He wanted me to paint, she needed to be fed.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, however, that didn't stop us from having quality time together. It just meant that it
Hmm.
looked different. So
Yep.
I would have her in the carrier feeding, and I would be watching him play with cars. So I might not be able to get on the floor and play with the cars because I was feeding the baby, but
Hmm.
I would be able to sit there and talk to him and go, oh, wow, what's that policeman doing? Oh, could you,
Hmm.
or why don't you run through and get this? So you can still have that one-on-one time where they feel like they're important and the focus of your attention while you care for the other child.
Hmm.
Um, but again, trying to get one-on-one time with them where the newborn isn't there is also really handy if you can. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're a solo parent,
Yeah.
your
If
options
it's
are
not
limited.
possible, yeah, if it's not possible,
Yeah.
that's why the carrier or sling is really, really important because then you're able to safely have baby on you nice and securely and still have so you're giving all of your attention to both children at the same time rather than saying, I need to sit here and feed, you need to play by yourself, or leaving the baby to cry because dealing with something that the toddler child wants, which is really hard to kind of split yourself. Like, who can you deal with crying more? Like, let's try and do something
Yeah.
all together.
And it doesn't also spending time with your older kid doesn't mean like you have to, we're not saying you have to be like one of these influencer parents who, sets up play scenes and, is doing like outdoor nature activity, like just
Just go
watching
outside.
TV with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even like genuinely, if all you can do is sit down and watch a cartoon with your kid, that is still quality time with them. Or
Yep.
reading them a book at bedtime. Or
Hmm.
just even holding their hand and saying, how was nursery today, darling? Do you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
even that, even sitting at dinner together is quality time for your child. Any
Yep.
interaction is quality time. So you don't need to think, oh, well, I'm not giving them enough of me because I haven't, got all the wooden toys out and set up this elaborate play schema. Like, no,
Yeah.
you've got a newborn, you're tired. Any time you can give your kids is good time.
Hmm.
So absolutely, if you can strap the wee one to your chest and, just sit there and say, okay, right, I'm going to sit and shut my eyes. You hide somewhere in the room. Kaelin and I played a lot of hide and seek in the room where he would
Yeah.
hide in various places, and I would be like seeing his feet under the curtain, going, "Oh, you must be behind the chair."
Yeah. Also,
And
hospitals is a great game to play. If you give your child a toilet roll and tell him to bandage your legs while you're sat on the couch,
oh,
you're comfy, child is delighted. You make mess of a toilet roll, doesn't matter. Sometimes it's you do what you have to do. Or like, oh, mommy's not well. I'll just lay back here and you kind of look after me. My wee one used to love that with a stethoscope and coming up and giving
yeah,
me injections with his like toy thing. It's like, oh, it's great fun.
yeah. And again, there are so many things you can do that involve sitting on the couch while your kid runs about the room. I am
Hmm.
I am a very, very experienced parent of that game. Because again, there are days I just can't get off the couch. So it's it it's something that as a new parent, don't be freaking out and thinking, oh, I've got to take my kid to the park. Would it be nice? Sure. Everybody loves going to
Yeah.
the park when you're 3. But I hate the park as an adult. Do you know why? There's
Yeah.
children there.
So it's the sitting around and it's the waiting or it's the having to, like, my children are old enough now, I can go and sit on the bench, but then I'm like cold because I'm not moving or I'm bored. It's like, are you done yet? Can we go? So
No, mine
I'd rather
still is
just
like,
go
Mum,
in the
look at
woods and
me.
go for a walk.
Yeah. Mine is still like, Mum, look at me. Mum can play. Mum, can you do the shooting? I'm like, no, Mum,
Yeah. Or the
Mummy
other end of
can't.
the park, and they're like, Mom, come push me. It's like, oh, but with a sling, then you can, because that's such a
Yeah.
nice option as well. Going to the park with a slinger carrier, newborn is safe and warm and secure, and then you can go push on the swing if you want to go to the park,
Yeah.
or just sit on the couch. It's
Yeah.
depend on what you want to do and what you have the energy to do as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that I've got some pictures and stuff of us down the park with my daughter in a ring sling, and she would have been slightly older. So my son would have been 4.5, and she'd have been about 1. So she was
Mhm.
starting to sort of bump about the place, and so we could put her down so she could play on the shooting stuff. But it did mean that if my I use a ring sling a lot of the time, as listeners will know. But I I love that because it's really adjustable between the two kids. So it
Mhm.
meant that I could put him up in it when he was like he fell off his bike and he was a bit grumpy. So I put him up in it and gave
Mm.
him a bit of a cuddle while she was playing about on some of the play equipment. And having a carrier for that kind of use can also be really good just for that, for being able to say, right, well, she can actually be held in arms. She's much lighter than him.
Mhm.
I can carry her in arms easier than I can carry him. So I can put him in the carrier and carry her home in arms. Um, so again, it's with carrying, you have so many options
Mhm.
when you're looking at carrying too. Um, and for going to things like the park and things, taking something like a ring sling is a really good option because again, it's not massive and bulky. You can wear it like a scarf while you're cutting about doing, park
Mhm.
things, and then you can put one of them in it and walk with the other one. Um,
Woven wrap as well
if
is also ideal for that. I remember going, we were out a walk once, and my son, he was probably about 18 months at the time, and he was confidently walking, and my daughter would have been about 6.5, almost 7. And I remember that we were like halfway in the walk, so it was like not a quick jaunt back to the car. So she twisted her ankle or something and couldn't walk, and it was like, oh my God. So I put him, he was wrapped in my back. I put him down and Daddy carried him, or he walked a wee bit and then Daddy carried, and I got to wrap her on my back at age 7. It wasn't
Nice.
perfect, but it meant that I wasn't having to carry a 7-year-old on my shoulders or my back, which was like, oh, so it was really nice as well. And it's got that option. If wrapping is something that you want to look at.
Yeah, if only there was somebody who liked raps here.
I don't know. Who could that be? Not me with my
Who
hand
could
up.
that be? Yeah, I mean, if you do want to carry two kids together, I would say the main thing to be mindful of is most people will choose to use two buckle carriers. But you could put like a stretchy wrap on and then use a buckle carrier over the top of that on your back for your bigger kid. But
Mhm.
if you're going to choose to use two buckle carriers, so you've got a big buckle on the back and a small buckle on the front, it's how you layer them is really
Mhm.
what you're looking at. So typically we would tell you to put the kid on the back first because then you don't have to, because then you don't have anything on your front to work around.
Mhm.
Um, but if your toddler's wanting up and down a lot and they're on your back, it can be tricky moving around your newborn on your front. So you're going to want to think about where your straps are on the
Mhm.
carriers. So if you put the newborn on second, your shoulder straps might be on top of the
Yep.
straps for your child on the back. So you might have to take the newborn out as well as taking the toddler off.
Mhm.
So it's not a bad thing. It's just you need to think about
Yeah, there's a wee
what
bit
is my
more to plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
It's like
okay. So
depends on what you're using as well. If you're using two buckles, then you might need to get newborn off more often than the toddler, depending on where you're going and how confidently they are walking. But if you have something like a stretchy wrap, you can have baby on first, toddler on the
yeah,
back, and you can easily put baby in and out of the stretchy without
yeah,
having to. So, for example, if you've gone a long walk and then toddler's asleep on your back, then you're not going to have to disturb them to get them off, to get toddler
yeah,
out to baby out to feed or anything like that. So yeah, it takes a wee bit more planning and play around with it as well. Like
yeah,
if you've got different options, try different combinations on different outings and see
yeah.
what works for you. Who's going to need out
It can be
first? Who needs more?
yeah, it can be tricky though, because even like say you've got a newborn on your chest and you've got your toddler on your back, the stupid things you have to plan for are where does your chest clip go?
Yep. And can you
You
use
know,
it?
yeah. So can you use it? Yes, you can, but you might have to have it much higher up your body or really low down your body to so it's not in your newborn's face.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends. Can your carrier do that? If not, you might find that you can't use the chest clip, and so you have to keep your hands on the straps of the carrier to ensure their safety. It's it's things like that that I think you don't think about when you're like, oh, I'll carry both of them. Okay,
Hmm.
great, but um, are you going to buckle the waist belts together? Will the waist belts both fit? So you get
Yes.
some carriers like Tula and Ergo, for example, that have, or Lenny Lamb, that have padded waist
Mm.
belts, and they are quite wide padded waist belts, meaning that they come really far around your body. So if you're wearing two of them, can you wear two of them at once? Because physically, will they fit on your abdomen?
Yeah, because what
Um,
you want is the baby one will be higher, toddler one will be lower, but then do you have enough torso space for that?
yeah,
Have you got a short torso? Because then you've got baby waistband and then another waistband, and then the
yeah.
other one might be far too low to be actually comfortable on your body as well. So,
That's I can
yeah,
tell you right now, I've got a very short torso, so I can't do two
yeah.
like thick waist belts. So again, the ergo waistband, it goes quite far around my body, but also is very deep on my body.
Hmm.
So I think it's about 4 inches deep, which
Yeah.
means that it's taken up 4 inches of my abdomen. So I don't have 8 inches there to put two of them side by
Not got
side,
big stretchy bodies.
Yes. I'd have to have one right under my bust and the other one right above my pelvis. So
Yeah. And then
I just
baby would
simply
be
don't have
right
the
under
space.
your chin.
Yes. Well, my toddler is in the middle of my lower back. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't work for me to wear two of them.
Hmm.
Um, However, I have had two other types of carriers, sort of apron style carriers, where I've been able to clip the waist belts together so that
Hmm.
I just had one waist belt going around my whole body, and I was able to, but both the children are then at the same height, so both had
Hmm.
to be quite high up my body for the smaller child in the front. Um, this was me playing about with dolls and carriers, see what I could get away with.
Yeah.
But again, you might want to try something like trying a Medai or and a buckle carrier so that you can have the smooth straps and the feeling of a buckle, or try a half
Hmm.
buckle or something, where you can have the feeling of a buckle without having the actual all the clips and stuff. Because another thing that can happen is when you're carrying two kids, if you've got two buckle carriers or two wraps, you've then got multiple buckles and knots. You have to be very careful about what you're undoing and where.
Yes.
So if you're trying to take down the baby and you want to keep the sleeping toddler on your back, then you're going to be very careful that you're not unbuckling the toddler's belts so they
Hmm.
fall off your back. And it's just you've just got to be very mindful. And
Yeah.
so if you're knotting with woven wraps, you might want to think, well, I'll put my toddler on my side and my newborn on my waist down at the
Hmm.
front. Do you know what I mean? Like you think about where the knots are going rather than having them all in the
Or
same
different
place.
colors. So if you've got different, if
Yeah.
you're using two wraps as well, right? Okay, this color wrap is for that knot is for a baby, and that one's for a toddler as well. And if you can also
Yeah.
get buckle carriers that have different size buckles that can be nice because then you can say, right, okay,
Mhm.
the newborn buckle carrier has small buckles, so I know that one to unloop, and the toddler one has chunkier buckles, so I know to do it that way, or like 3-point release. So you can have different options that way if that helps. You've got something a bit more tactile to feel for, so you're not
Yeah.
unbuckling the wrong thing.
I mean, another option would be get some nail polish out and color in your buckle. You know,
Yeah.
it's if you've got a toddler and a newborn carrier and the same size buckles and you struggle with which one goes where, take a bit of nail polish and put a mark on the buckle. And so
Hmm.
like, well, this is my pink buckle, so that's the bigger carrier. This is my blue buckle. This is my smaller carrier.
Hmm. Or a
Um,
sticker
you
as
know,
well. So then if you
yep,
can't see it, if it's round your side, then you can
you
feel,
can
okay,
feel
that
it.
one's got the sticker
Yeah,
on it.
yep.
Yeah.
Just anything that's going to make you feel like I have a real good grasp on which buckle I'm undoing.
Hmm.
The likelihood of you dropping your kid is very low. It's very low.
Yep.
Especially because typically you would undo one chest panel clip at first, so it'd be like your
Hmm.
shoulder on your right or your left, and then you would feel which one had went, and you go, "Oh, that's the wrong kid." So
Hmm.
there's very little chance of you actually injuring your kid, but you know, our job
Yeah.
is to
We
make sure
still
everybody
want
does
you.
things safely. Yeah,
Exactly.
we want you to have plans. Um,
Yeah.
but
What
yeah, so
are
carrying
Um, yeah, what are some nice combinations that you, apart from wraps, what are nice combinations that you used?
I really liked having a stretchy and a buckle, so or a half
Hmm.
buckle. So or I would like using a half buckle and a full buckle. Um I also have a podgy, I'm not sure how you say it, but
Hmm.
it's I really like that for my son on my back because that was really quick up and down and I could work it around whatever I had my daughter on my front in. So whether she was in a buckle or woven or whatever, because again, it doesn't have a lot of fabric, it's only two straps. So
Yep.
it was easy for me to carry about and quick to put up and down and worked around my baby on the front. Um, I I didn't very often use two buckle carriers at once.
Hmm.
Um, I've done it a lot with clients, but not personally. It just
Yeah.
it's again, I've got a very short torso and quite a large bust, so I just don't have a lot of retail space here to be carrying waist belts. Um,
Yeah.
my
I remember
landscape
doing
is
it
different.
once with Tulas. So I had Tula Free to Grow and a preschool Tula on my back and on my front, and there was just so much
That's a
going
lot of
on my
padding.
shoulders. That's a lot of padding, and I just felt like the sensory overwhelm of having two children on me, and then a lot of padding and a lot of buckles, and there was a
Mhm.
lot going on, and it was thicker carriers as well. So I was just like, I could do this for a picture and I could do this for 5 minutes to show you what it looks like, but no, I need them off. I need something
It's not for me.
nice. And yeah, and that's something to think about as well. If you are neurodivergent and there's a lot of sensory overwhelm as well, you don't want anything that's going to be a lot of faff and a lot of extra padding and
Yeah.
buckles as well. I used to love a stretchy wrap on the front and then a short woven for the back, or a Zen sling. I used a Zen sling and then a toddler Tula, or a preschool Tula was a nice one because then you've got flat shoulder pads and then
Yeah.
bulky one on top, so it wasn't too much of an overwhelm.
See, that's why I liked my half buckle because it meant that I could have the waist secure with a buckle. It meant that I didn't have to,
Hmm.
worry about making a seat on my back or anything.
Yeah,
For anybody using a woven wrap, it can be overwhelming sometimes trying to make the seat.
yeah.
So I could put that buckle on, everything was nice and safe. But then I got the flat shoulders of a woven wrap feeling, and so I very
Hmm.
much like that. And it was the same with using the pod guy. Is again, the big back panel hanging down made it easy to make a seat. So all I
Yeah.
had to do was just pass the straps under his legs and then knot it nice and low down below. Um, I would say probably the thing I enjoyed most about tandem carrying um would be that it just felt cozy. Like it was nice having both my
Great
kids
in
on me and
winter.
I felt really connected to them. Both uh it was nice. But again, I didn't do it that often. I didn't need to do that often. If we were
Hmm.
both going out, I would carry one and their dad would carry the other. Um, and yeah, it's just we didn't have to do it that often. Um, again, I used a ring sling a lot for because again, it meant I could go between the kids.
Yeah.
Um, so I have used two ring slings and had one on each hip as they got a bit older.
Yeah.
I'm
That's a
not a
lot
huge
going
fan.
on the front though.
It's a lot of planning to do that because then you have to think which one am I tightening first, and because otherwise if you
Yeah.
tighten the top one first then the bottom one is almost impossible to tighten
And then if
because
you
of the
don't have it
friction.
spread on your shoulders as well,
Yeah,
it can creep
you
up
get
and
the
then you're
diggy
like,
diggy.
eh. And
Yeah,
it can be, there's a lot going on in your front. And then you're limited of what you can actually reach and do because you
yeah,
might only have like a wee one and a big one, but you can only really
yeah,
use one hand for doing
yeah, and
stuff.
then having the weight difference, so you've got a heavy
Yeah.
one and a lighter one, you do feel
Yeah. Be a bit
so
be a bit
while you
wonky walking.
So while you can do a tandem hip carry, it's typically something we more recommend for twins where there's a much more they're much of a similar size. But I mean, you can do it with both kids because we've been talking a
Hmm.
lot about front and back carrying, whereas you can do a tandem hip. It's very possible.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I prefer doing that with the woven wrap because I can just use a set of rings on my front and they can all go through the one set of rings. But
Hmm.
again,
A
a lot of people dislike
super
that because it can be quite bulky.
Yeah. if you were also after, so say that you had a toddler that wasn't really interested in going up, wasn't bothered, but they still got tired and you still had to end up carrying on them on your hip, you can have newborn on your front and one of those hip seats. Like, personally, I'm not
Yeah,
a huge fan, but it works if that's just something quick that you want. Maybe not the ones that we're looking at, like a hip seat that goes across your body, but like just a seat that's on your hip can be a
like the
really
hippie
quick
chick.
option as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, can
Plus,
be a really
that's I think
quick option.
the hippie chick is great 'cause it's only about 25 quid. So it's not an
Yeah.
expensive option. My mum loves it because it's like a big plastic seat. I think
Yeah.
Ergo do one now as well.
Yep,
Um,
Ergo have got one. There's quite a few around the market, but it's basically just like a big firm seat that straps around your waist and it's just there for, but you're obviously holding the child, it's not hands-free. But if you're
yeah,
wanting something that's just super the fastest option just for like a 5 minute up and then they've got their energy and they're back down again, or they don't want to be carried, but you're going to have to carry them to get them to a
mhm,
destination, then that
yeah.
can be a really quick super option as well.
I have in the past done a braided hip seat with a woven
Mm-hmm.
wrap. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's where you take a short woven wrap, you braid it, and we can put a video up on how to braid it if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but basically, you make a series of knots in the wrap and then tighten them off. And you basically make the wrap really quite thick and chunky, and then tie it
Mm-hmm.
around your waist, and you get effectively a hip seat. It's less firm than an actual
Mm-hmm.
hip seat, but it'll do in a pinch. And I've done that
Yeah.
before where again my toddler's legs were tired and he didn't want to come up in a carry. Um
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, you can braid a wrap and do that. And it can sometimes be a really nice way to carry the wrap as well if you don't know
Yeah,
if
definitely.
you're
And it's a good
carrying it.
way to break in your wrap as well.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, it can
Mhm.
be super quick to do. And there's
Yeah.
lots of different options as well. So it just depends on your lifestyle and what you're
Yeah.
doing. So on the whole, if you are looking at carrying a newborn for the first time or adding a sibling, there's loads of combinations, and that's what we're here for. So if you're wanting to look at when you're still pregnant or when baby arrives, then we can definitely go over all the options with you and find something that's going to work best with your body and your needs. So if you're close to everything, like I'm pretty close, I could drive, walk to everywhere, but also sometimes need to drive. So if you're walking places or you're driving places or if you're using public transport, then there's loads of different combinations that will work for those scenarios as well, and whatever
Yeah.
works for your body.
Yeah. So I think yeah, we cover pretty much everything. So the with your newborn coming in with your bigger kid, you're going to want to try and make some time for the bigger kid. Carrying can be
Mm-hmm.
helpful for that. You're going to want to be going places and doing stuff because you've already got a life that
Mm-hmm.
your children fit into. Again, using carriers can be great for that. Do you have to tandem carry? No. If you want to, there are loads of options on the market.
Yep.
And we're happy to offer help with that. But as always, let us know your questions. Come back,
Mm-hmm.
tell us what you think, tell us what you want to know, and we'll be able
Yeah.
to put some
And if
information
you
up.
have found an option that works for you, let us know what you're doing. And we'll pop some stuff on socials as well to give you some ideas of combos and things that you can have a wee look at too.
Yes,
Yes.
sounds like a
And
plan.
our next episode, we will have an exciting guest for you. And that's
Yeah.
going to be 2 weeks from now. So we'll get back into the swing of things now that's the new year as well and get back to
The new year. Oh, the things we do. Um,
I know.
yes,
January will be
it'll be
over in
exciting.
like a sneeze, though. It'll be like
Yeah, I
next time
know.
we'll be talking, it'll be like, oh, it's March already. The Easter
Oh my goodness.
holidays.
I'm genuine. The next thing for us is my son's birthday. So
Yep.
that's
Same.
where my planning is going at the minute. Yep.
Yep.
Christmas
Same.
birthdays.
Exciting. I know. Who would have a birthday in January? It's just ridiculous.
Those of us who did not plan our babies well, like
Yeah. Right. Well, thanks for joining us. And if you're watching or listening, drop us a wee comment. Let us know what you thought and yeah, anything you want to add. And we will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye bye.